If you've watched my favorite VR games video, you'll know I love horror games. And all of them in that video, I have no problem playing. But Wraith the Oblivion Afterlife was the scariest VR game I've played so far. It is a magnificent horror game, with some pretty visuals, incredible audio, outstanding voice acting for a game at least, and story. And horribly scary ghosts. You play as Ed, a photographer who was hired to shoot a seance, but something went wrong and everybody died. You have to make your way around the Barclay mansion and figure out what happened, all while avoiding and running from ghosts. But don't worry, you're equipped with some Wraith abilities that can help you avoid them. This game also takes place in the World of Darkness universe, which to be honest, I know zero about, but I just know it's a tabletop RPG. It'll make you shit your pants sometimes, and honestly a few times I was literally too scared to do it without watching a video first. Before we get in, there's some very mild spoilers, so let's get into specifics of everything. To start off with Ed's abilities, you can fling objects to yourself similar to Half-Life Alyx. Walk through walls, but not every wall, just these little portals. And pick up large objects without picking them up. I can't really put it into words, but here, you can see on the screen. They come in handy most of the game and are great additions. Now let's see the ghosts. These things are terrifying. There are basically only three though. You have Helen. She's definitely the least scary out of the three, but that doesn't mean she's not scary. It's just, compared to the other two, I was definitely not super scared around her. Then you have the tall man. This dude scared me so much. He's only in one or two sections, but he proves as a threatening presence that will kill you if he sees you. He has an opening in his head because I believe he was shot, and that also adds to him making a gurgling sound when he's walking around, which is pretty scary. And finally, the broken woman. This is Cassandra, who was killed by Barclay and just wants nothing but to kill you. She is horrifying. Everything about her just doesn't look natural. Like her name, she looks broken. There's two long encounters with her. First in the guest house, which is my least favorite part of the game, where she walks slowly toward you and in the darkness, making barely any noise and just limping at you. And then when you have to burn her items, she is much more aggressive and will charge at you, walk on the walls and other stuff. You can barely even stealth by her, so your best chance is to flash her with your light and run. They are one of the main selling points of the game. Something though, the tall man's AI just isn't that good. I mean, he's fine, but he'll just search the same area for a while near you. So he'll just be sitting in a closet for a while, and eventually all the fear just goes away. But this is not a big deal. Next we'll look at some other small things. The controls I assume are fine on other controllers, but on Index, which I play on, they feel slightly, well, what you call bad. You have to squeeze the life out of your controller to even grab an object, but thankfully a Steam user known as Papa Sid uploaded a custom binding that makes it much better. Okay, so now that I'm editing this, the devs got back to me and they put out a patch that fixed the gripping on the Index. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm sure it's fine now. The movement is pretty slow, but it's a slow-paced horror game, so it makes sense. I have seen some people complain about this, but to me it's not a big deal. Some things don't feel too good, like the crouching isn't the most responsive, but it just came out on PC, so I don't expect the controls to be perfect. Next, the story. I don't say anything about what happens, you can just go watch other people's videos or mine. But I really like how they did it. Instead of just having you pick up text and read it, they did a really interesting way of cutscenes. They show animations and weird models of the characters, plus some great voice acting. The animations are well done, and it adds a lot, instead of just text you have to read. But don't worry, there still is text. This is just backstory stuff and journals written by the characters that were once in the mansion. Another mechanic is the Corpus and Pathos. Corpus is basically your health. This goes down every time you go through a portal, but there are good amounts of photos that regenerate it. But the thing that annoys me is Pathos. Oh god, the Pathos. I get it when horror games are dark, but in my opinion this game takes it way too far. There are areas that are absolutely pitch black and you can't see at all, you just have to guess. And Pathos powers your light, but it runs out super quick, and there's barely any Pathos pictures around. I mean, there's a good amount, but it all runs out really fast. I mean, you do get some more every time you save, so the Corpus is fine, but the Pathos isn't that great. Now, two things I want to compliment are the audio and visuals. The visuals are not insane at all. Just okay on PC, but for the Quest game, they're insane. On PC, personally, I didn't have a problem with the graphics, and they're quite nice to me, but compared to other games, they're pretty decent. I'd say they're a little bit lower than The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. But something else is that the audio is fantastic. The audio is absolutely phenomenal. The design and voice acting are great for a VR game, and it really helps with immersion. Everything is just so well done. I can't really say anything about the music, because barely anything like a lot of horror games, but the few tracks that are there, like the menu theme or the chase theme, are great. So expect great audio and visuals. Many VR games range in price from $15 to $40, which is what I've seen is the norm for VR games, and this game pulls you back $30. I think it's a good price. Maybe like $25 would have been better, but for the quality of everything, it's a fitting price. The story is sadly only around 5 to 7 hours, and I only personally played for around 4.7 hours, which is what Steam told me at least. But I don't really like to go back to places looking for collectibles and stuff in horror games, because when I'm done with the scary part, I never want to go back. Some people aren't very happy with the length of the game, and I understand, but people need to understand VR is still in its early stages, and most developers are indie. The only big AAA games I know of really are Half-Life Alyx, Walking Dead SAS, Lone Echo, Stormland, and Asgard's Wrath. But remember, 3 out of 5 of those games are Oculus-funded games, and not every developer has that privilege. Plus, I feel like this game was any longer, it would have overstayed its welcome. The length is fine to me. And now the final thing I want to touch on are the scares. They are great. There's only a few jump scares, but the ones that are there are incredibly scary. And the monsters are also very scary on their own. And the atmosphere is really good, which also helps. Don't expect like FNAF numbers of jump scares, but every single scare is effective and horrifying. So there's nothing else I want to talk about. This is a great horror game and an incredible VR one as well. The only really bad things I have to say about the game are a lack of pathos and lighting in some areas, which, I mean, I get if it's dark, but like I said earlier, this game takes it a little bit too far, and I would have liked to have some light. Some annoying AI in parts where they just stay around you for a while, forcing you into a closet for like 6 minutes. That's it, basically. It captures a similar feeling in the Jeff chapter in Half-Life Alyx. It is one of the scariest VR games on the market now, too. It's a great game with some nice visuals and monsters, and it is worth every dollar of the $30 it is. So I highly recommend it. Thank you for watching. I really enjoyed my time with this game, and I think you will too. So I'll see you guys later. I'll be gone working on a longer video, which I'm not going to say what it is, but look out for it. Signing off, this is Nova VR.